Alexander Hamilton was a lawyer, soldier, statesman, and the first Secretary of the Treasury.
Alexander Hamilton was one of the strongest proponents that we had among the Founding Fathers for what's called a federalist form of government, which involves a very strong, centralized government.
Alexander Hamilton was born between 1755 and 1757 in the British West Indies. The product of an adulterous affair, he was abandoned by his father in 1766 and grew up without privilege.
He came to the mainland colonies in 1773 and soon enrolled in what was then King's College, what is now Columbia University.
New York at the time was a hotbed of contending political factions. He soon found out that what was much more interesting was to become involved in this political strife, and he published his first piece of writing very soon afterwards, which he signed as a friend of America.
When the Revolutionary War began in 1775, Hamilton left college to join in the fight, and by 1777 he was a lieutenant colonel and aide-de-camp to General George Washington. While still in the Army, Hamilton married Elizabeth Schuyler, daughter of the rich and powerful General Philip Schuyler.
After the American Revolution, Alexander Hamilton worked as a lawyer in New York.
Hamilton joined the Continental Congress and in 1787 was a New York delegate to the Constitutional Convention in Philadelphia. There he fought to replace the flawed Articles of Confederation with a constitution that guaranteed a strong central government.
He was actually the architect and author of the majority of what became known as the Federalist Papers. 85 different articles published in newspapers that were designed to convince the states to ratify the U.S. Constitution.
When George Washington was elected America's first president in 1789, he tapped Alexander Hamilton to be the first Secretary of the Treasury.
Alexander Hamilton designed the Treasury Department. He believed that it was the role of the federal government to collect and disperse money. At the same time, he was fervent about paying down the national debt.
Hamilton laid out a plan for how a national economy could actually emerge at a time when many people didn't know how it could possibly work.
In 1795, Hamilton stepped down as Secretary of the Treasury, leaving behind a more secure U.S. economy. Hamilton returned to his law practice, but remained involved in politics. His support of Thomas Jefferson in the heated 1800 presidential election secured Jefferson's victory over Aaron Burr. For Burr, this marked the first of many perceived slights by Hamilton.
On July 11, 1804, Alexander Hamilton and Aaron Burr met on the dueling grounds of Weehawken, New Jersey, which was really the end of a long-standing political feud and personal feud between these two men.
Hamilton didn't shoot at him, basically said, "This is ridiculous, I'm just going to shoot in the air." And then Burr levels his gun and shoots at him. It makes Burr seem like a lesser man.
Alexander Hamilton died the next day in New York City on July 12, 1804. Today, he is remembered for establishing the federal principles of national government and is the face of the $10 bill.